my name is Rachel and I'm here today to talk about my writing book collection. I have quite a few books about like the craft of writing. So when I start a writing session, I tend to either read a writing craft book or I will watch people's like writing vlogs and stuff. I thought I would do a little bit of a video today about all the books that I have that are writing craft related books. There are some at my parents', but I think most of them are here. I tend to keep them around. It's not like the biggest collection ever, but yeah, I thought I would just run through them today. So we've got the books that I have read, books that I dip in and out of, books that I have started, and then we've got books that I haven't touched yet, unfortunately, because I want to start them all. So I'm going to go from the books that I've read first and just kind of work my way through. The first book that I've read is what I talk about when I talk about running, and this is by Haruki Murakami. Sorry if there's like a glare on the book, but it is nighttime and it's been snowing today, so it's like dark really early, and yeah, there's just absolutely no chance of this being okay without having the ridiculous light on, so we're just gonna have to cope with it. This is one of my favourite writing books, and I would say it doesn't really read as a writing book in the way that a lot of the other ones do. So this doesn't really focus on writing craft, it focuses more on lifestyle and how you can bring writing into your lifestyle and make it a part of your day-to-day sort of thing. I absolutely love this book. It's the only Haruki Murakami that I've read, which is ridiculous for somebody who is on BookTube and reads a lot. I don't know why it's the only one, since I read it a very long time ago and really enjoyed it. So yeah, like I said, this is obviously about writing, but Haruki Murakami very famously has a ridiculous writing routine and like runs a marathon and then goes and does a writing session and stuff like that. It's absolutely insane. We talked a lot about running in this book as well as about writing, and it's just absolutely fascinating. Like I said, it's more a memoir about his life and how he writes and how he's able to be so productive and things. So if you're looking for writing craft, I wouldn't say this is the one, but just for like general inspiration kind of book, it's fantastic. Then the next one we've got is probably the most famous writing craft book there is, bar the next one, and that is On Writing by Stephen King. Again, this is another like memoir about writing, so it doesn't focus on writing craft, it focuses more on writing as a part of Stephen King's life and how it's incorporated into his life. This is the copy that I read, but I have another copy of it at my mum and dad's that's a hardback copy that is fucking gorgeous. If I can find the cover, I will insert it so you can see how beautiful it is. It's absolutely stunning. So I keep this one as my messy copy that I read and that like has all the tabs in and highlighting and stuff, and my other copy is my nice copy because yeah, it's stunning. I absolutely love this. I remember when I read it, I was really early on in writing. I think it was when I just moved to Switzerland. So I'd been writing for years, but I'd never taken it seriously. And the reason I moved to Switzerland was to take my writing more seriously. And so this was a really good starting point, I remember, that I read really early on, and that was just fascinating and such an interesting thing to hear about someone who has been so prolific and is so popular. You don't usually tend to hear from that side as much, so this was a really nice insight, and I would really recommend it. Again though, not a writing craft kind of teaching you kind of book, so if you're looking for books like that, I wouldn't read this or Haruki Murakami's, because they're kind of, that's not really what they're about. And then yeah, the next one is If That One's Not the most famous, and then yeah, if that one's not the most famous book on writing, then Save the Cat is. And my copy is Save the Cat writes a novel, because obviously I write novels. The original is based on like writing screenplays, so this one's kind of been adapted by Jessica Brody to focus more on novel writing and the plots that you use for novel writing. I go back to this all the time. It's such an easy way to plot out your story, and I think a lot of the time with me, I naturally fall into doing like a beat sheet for a story without putting much effort into it, because obviously like you watch so many films, you read so many books, your mind just naturally works in the form of like plot structure, I find anyway. But the thing that I like about this is it kind of gives you a little bit more guidance on like the in-between bits, which is the bits that I struggle with. So for instance, like theme stated is something that I always end up going back to all of the time. Ending wise, like the whole act 3 I never really have to look at this book for, and I never have to look at anything for. I'm really good at act 3s, but act 2s are a bit of a struggle. And no matter what I do as well, everything I write always ends up in this buddy love, transformative power of love or friendship genre. It has like different genres in here from the genres you'd expect from like, as in like science fiction and stuff. But yeah, no matter what I write, even if it is sci-fi, if it's fantasy, if it's commercial fiction, if it like anything I wrote, it always ends up in that box. So yeah, really love this. It's one of those that everybody talks about all the time, but they do talk about it for a reason. And even if you don't follow plot structure and you're a pantser or whatever, I think it's good to like have an awareness of it, because your brain will just kind of meld your stories into it, and so it'll make it so you don't need to like edit as much afterwards. So it is a good tool to have. And then the last one I have is a bit of a negative. So I DNF'd this book, and yeah, I haven't looked at it since. I read 95 pages. Now, there will be a slight issue with this in that I have put tabs in it, so it looks like it was good, because why have you put tabs in it if it wasn't? But I just remember very distinctly it wasn't teaching me anything new, it wasn't saying anything I didn't already know, and yeah, it was just not great. And it is on editing, How to Edit Your Novel the Professional Way by Helen Corner Bryan and Catherine Price. And yeah, I was really struggling with editing a book, which I still haven't even managed to edit yet. I was really struggling, and I needed some help with it, and I went out and got this book specifically, so I was like, I really need guidance with this. And it just wasn't a help at all, and yeah, it wasn't great, so I wouldn't recommend this. I'm not going to talk about it for that long, but that is part of my collection. Hopefully one day I'm going to have more books about editing, because that one is not a great one. Next we'll do books that I have started but not finished. The first one I have is Bird by Bird, Some Instructions on Writing and Life by Anne Lamott. Now, I was really enjoying this. I remember distinctly that I was enjoying it. I'm up to page 64. Again, it's not like a writing craft book per se, it's more her life and how she got into writing and her like career in writing. However, there is more focus than the other ones. So for instance, the chapter that I'm up to now is dialogue. The next chapter is set design. It does focus on different sections, like how you would write dialogue or how you would work the setting and things like that. There is more focus in here on the logistics of writing, but again, it is more on the memoir side than some of the other books. And yeah, I don't know why I stopped reading this. I was really enjoying it, so it is one that I will get back to. It's hard with writing craft books because I tend to read them when I need inspiration for writing, and then once I've got the inspiration, I don't need them anymore and I don't finish them, which is kind of an issue because then yeah, I'm never finishing them. But this one is actually really good so far, so I'm definitely going to pick this back up and get back to it at some point. Next, another one that was amazing. However, now the issue with this one is very much writing craft, like the nitty gritty in there type of book, and it is heavy. It is like heavy, and I don't read a lot of books like that just in general. My reading tastes are normally fiction. I don't read a hell of a lot of non-fiction. Oh, hopefully I'm in the same place, but my light ran out, so I had to go and plug that in. But yeah, anyway, the book that I'm on about is The Anatomy of Story by John Truby, and like I was saying, this is very, very nitty gritty, like in the trenches, like very, very detailed, and I don't read a lot of stuff like that. I'm very much fiction based, so this was hard for me to read. However, it's fucking fantastic, and the nuggets of wisdom in here are just insane. I remember like being blown away by it. There's so many things in there where it might be something you've heard before but you've never thought of it in that way, or they're just things like you generally just don't know anyway. So I had only read up to, where have I read up to? I don't have a bookmark in here, which is really irritating. I hate that. I've definitely read up to here, so that's 117, and look how many post-its there are in here. It's insane. I'm definitely going to get back to this at some point, but I feel like it's one of those that I might actually have to go back to the start and read again, which I think would be nice, because it'd be nice to read it without needing to highlight everything. Because yeah, when I've put the post-its in this, I've literally been full on writing in it as well, because it was just, yeah, such a great book. So yeah, would really recommend this one. This is probably the best one that I've read so far in terms of like writing craft. And then the other one is one that I started yesterday, and it is Story Genius: How to Use Brain Science to Go Beyond Outlining and Write a Riveting Novel, and which I'm enjoying so far. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I feel like I don't know what it's about yet. But I am still, oh no, I finished the introduction. I feel like I don't really know, if I'm completely honest, I feel like I don't know what this book's about yet, but to be fair, I've only read the introduction. I read the introduction yesterday, so that makes sense that I don't really know. Yeah, I think one of the things that I struggle with is the initial outlining and going through a book. I think I get to a certain point and then I'm like, I don't care, I just want to write it. And then I start writing it, get to about the 20,000 word mark, and then I'm like, oh, I need to stop now because I need to go back to outlining because I didn't outline enough. And then I outline for a bit and I'm like, oh, set the juices going again. I want to go write it. I'm not finishing outlining. And so it's a bit annoying, my sort of writing habit. And so yeah, I just kind of wanted to have a little bit more of a grounding in outlining and in that sort of area of writing, really. So we've got that one. We'll let you know how it ends up going, but this one's all about cracking the story code to create stories that readers are riveted by. So yeah, we'll see how that one goes. And then we've got 4 that aren't like the others in terms of I've not really sat down and read them. They're kind of dipping in and out of. So I'm not going to say much about the first one because I feel like everybody knows what this is, but this is The Emotion Thesaurus, a writer's guide to character expression. So this basically, like, you open up to a feeling. So you've got empathy here. It talks about like what empathy is, physical signals of it, internal sensations, your mental responses, long-term responses, sign that it's being repressed, what it may escalate to, what it may de-escalate to, and associated power verbs. And then sometimes it sends you to like associated feelings as well. So like for eagerness, it might send you to happiness and things like that. So this is really, really helpful when you have a lot of the same feelings going on, but you don't want to always say the same thing. So I find with I have a story called AEU. I don't want to actually say what it is. I have a manuscript that I've been working on for a while, and there's a character in it who has been through a lot of trauma and has suppressed a lot, and it comes out in really like harmful ways, and that happens throughout. So there's a lot of the same emotions and the same anger coming out all the time. So I didn't want to just be describing it the same way every single time it was happening. So that's been a really good, helpful thing with that. Then we've got a book that I've not dipped into for a while, but holy hell has it helped me before. And it is Writing Tools, 55 Essential Strategies for Every Writer, and this is by Roy Peter Clark. This book I used to start when I first got it, and I didn't really have any of the writing craft books, and I didn't follow a lot of YouTubers who did writing either, and so I just used to dip into this and read a chapter before every single writing session, because a chapter is like 3 pages. Yeah, that one's 5. Oh, so most of them are about 3. And it's all just about like a certain part of writing. So like this one's use passive verbs to showcase the victim of action. Activate your verbs. Strong verbs create action. Save words and reveal the players. Order words for emphasis. Place strong words at the beginning and at the end. Begin sentences with subjects and verbs. Make meaning early. Then let weaker elements branch to the right. So it's all about really specific parts of story, like of actual like words on a page. And yeah, this was I remember that this was fantastic, and I was really enjoying this. I think it would be a really good book to read when you was line editing a book. That would be a really good time for this. But yeah, really enjoy that one. So that's a dip in and out of book. And then I have Inside Roald Dahl's Writing Hut, which my wife got me. I obviously she knows I like writing, and I have all these writing books, so I think she got it me for my birthday or Christmas, I can't remember. She got it for me for one of them, and it's just a little book because I absolutely adore Roald Dahl, and I love his stories. I went to the museum in Great Missenden, and it's just like one of my favourite places ever. So this book is literally just like all little stuff that you can find in his writing hut, because in the museum they still like have a load of his stuff on display from his writing hut. And yeah, that's very much a dip in and out of book, but I really enjoy that. It's very inspiring. And then we've got a new book for the dip in and out of, actually, and it is Rooms of Their Own, Where Great Writers Write by Alex Johnson. I recently got this on it was like me and my wife had a mini moon after we got married, and we went to Haworth, which obviously where the Brontes are from, Bronte Museum, all that stuff. So this book is actually from the Bronte Museum, and yeah, it's just all different writers and about the room that they wrote in. So like Margaret Atwood, Jane Austen, James Baldwin, Ray Bradbury, the Brontes, Agatha Christie, Roald Dahl, Charles Dickens, Emily Dickinson, Sylvia Plath, Haruki Murakami. There's absolutely tons on here. I think I did actually read the Roald Dahl section here straight away. So I've read that one, but I haven't read any of the others because I've literally only just got this book. But yeah, that's a really great one because number one, it's got beautiful illustrations on this side, but it's like just a little short page about a writer, so that's a good dip in and out of for before a writing session, I feel. So really excited about that. So there are all the books that I've got that I kind of know a bit about. And then the last 4 I haven't started, and yeah, I have no idea. So the first one is one that I just heard a lot of people talking about, and a lot of people rave about this book in terms of writing craft. It's more for screenwriters, but there's so much crossover with screenwriting and novel writing that a lot of the books kind of you can just read interchangeably. But it is Into the Woods by John York, How Stories Work and Why We Tell Them. And yeah, this is from the creator of the BBC Writers Academy, and it's all about taking you through the journey to the heart of storytelling, revealing that there truly is a unifying shape to narrative forms, one that echoes the fairy tale journey into the woods, and like any great art comes from deep within. And it's all about how to like write gripping stories. Yeah, this is very much like non-fiction. It looks a bit like the John Truby one in terms of like ridiculously detailed, so that might take me a while to get through, but yeah, I've heard really great things about that, so I do want to read that one. And then we've got Negotiating with the Dead, A Writer on Writing by Margaret Atwood. Again, I'd never heard that she even had a writing craft book, and then I think I did find it in a charity shop because it's got £2 written inside, which I was really excited about. Now I think this is from early on in her career, because number one, very odd front cover that looks very oldie worldy, and also the last writing credit, like publishing credit she's got in here, is for The Blind Assassin in 2000. So I want to say this book, 2003, yeah, so this is quite an old book really, but that doesn't really matter anyway. Obviously Margaret Atwood is a prolific writer, so again, another one that I would be interested to read. I think this will probably be in the memoir category. It's got a lot about the development of her writing career. She examines the metaphors that writers of fiction and poetry have used to explain or excuse their activities, looking at what costumes they have seen fit to assume, what roles they have chosen to play. In her final chapter, she takes up the challenge of the book's title. If a writer is to be seen as gifted, who is doing the giving and what are the terms of the gift? Yeah, I have no idea from the back of this really, but I'm going to assume it's more in the memoir style anyway. Then we have another one that I found in... So if you live in England, in the supermarkets, sometimes you will get like a little section, like a shelf of books on your way out of the supermarket, and it'll have a little box where you can like give a charitable donation. You can pick one of the books up and people just like donate the books. So it's kind of like charity books, but not like from a charity shop. It's just like a little stall that they have. And there was one of those in the Morrisons near me. And I found a book on writing, which I was like, oh my god, that's insane. So, Structuring Your Novel, Essential Keys for Writing an Outstanding Story by K.M. Wieland. Never heard of this. Don't know if it'll be any good, but yeah, I've seen it there, and obviously you can choose how much you want to give as well. So, and obviously it was just for a charitable donation, so I was like, I kind of have to. I feel like this has been put here on purpose for me to find. So this again is about the structure of stories, proper scene structure, which is one of the things I'm most interested in this for, because I think my scene structure is something that I could really work on, in terms of having scenes like start and end in different places and not be on the same sort of, I don't know how to explain it, because I write a lot of commercial like love story type things as well. They tend to have a very similar like end on a flirty moment, and I don't want all my scenes to end like that. So I think this will be a good one for me for kind of diversifying my scenes. And then the very last one I have is Characters, Emotion and Viewpoint, Techniques and Exercises for Crafting Dynamic Characters and Effective Viewpoints by Nancy Kress. I had another one of these books. It was the plot and structure one. I think it's still in Switzerland, which is really, really sad. I left a few things in Switzerland that I was going to go back for, and then literally like within the year of of me moving back. COVID happened, so I haven't been back over there. My biggest fear is asking the family and them saying that they got rid of my stuff because I never came back for it. So yeah, I don't know if I still have that book, because I had that, and I had a book about NaNoWriMo pep talks as well, and I think something else too. This is a book that I am really excited for because it focuses specifically on characters and emotion, and if you feel like character arcs through stories are something that I need to give a lot of focus to as well, because in most of the stories that I write there is something going on that is quite traumatic in someone's past, and so I think making sure that I'm handling that in the right way and having enough of a payoff from that is really important. So that's the reason I've got this one, and I'm really excited for this. I think it'll be really helpful. I'm just going to pop in here quickly because I've just filmed another video. I went on my computer to start editing, and I still had this video that I hadn't edited, the one about my writing books that you are watching now. It's just been Christmas, and I actually got a writing book for Christmas, so I thought I would just quickly nip in and mention a book that I got. So I don't know if I mentioned in that video that I had asked for this book, but it's a book that I've had on my radar. It's literally just come out, and my mum and dad got it me for Christmas, and it is Novelist as a Vocation by Haruki Murakami. So obviously in this video I've already mentioned that I read what I talk about when I talk about running, which is a book Haruki Murakami did about running, but it talks a lot about his writing craft as well. The write-up for this is Haruki Murakami's myriad fans will be delighted by this unique look into the mind of a master storyteller in this engaging book. The internationally best-selling and famously reclusive writer shares what he thinks about being a novelist, his thoughts on the role of the novel in our society, his own origins as a writer, and his musings on the sparks of creativity that inspire other writers, artists and musicians. Readers who have long wondered where the mysterious novelist gets his ideas and what inspires his strangely surreal world will be fascinated by this highly personal look at the craft of writing. So the chapters in this are things like Are Novelists Broad-Minded?, When I Became a Novelist, On Literary Prizes, On Originality, So What Should I Write About?, Making Time Your Ally, on writing a novel, A Completely Personal and Physical Occupation, Regarding schools, What Kind of Characters Should I Include, Who Do I Write For, Going Abroad, A New Frontier. It sounds even more amazing looking at that chapter list, like they sound really, really good. So probably going to try and get to this one soon because I'm just really excited about it, and it's like one of those things where you're like, oh, it's a new book, I want to read a new book. It could be a good start to next year, you know, because it's the 29th of December today. It could be a good start to read that as a good way to like set the tone for the year of writing, do you know? Anyway, I'm going to send you back to the video now. They are all the books that I have on writing craft. It feels like a lot when I hold them like this, but to be honest I thought I had more. I love books like this because I find them really motivating. If you have any recommendations of other books that you think I would enjoy, let me know. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye!